the perfect song for your video in 5 seconds. Go to artlist.io.
Hello?
Is that who I think it is?
Oh, yeah.
The man.
Yeah.
The myth. The
The
Paul.
legend. Yup. The Frank. Go North America, by the way.
Yeah, I just want to die. Give me 1 sec. Okay. I need to make sure your audio is at a good level. So I need to pull this
I'm
thing
about
back.
to plug my mic in, so.
That's fine. It won't make all that big of a difference.
Cool.
I ordered way too many wings at dinner today. I now have 8 wings left over for lunch tomorrow.
What, did you try to, like, stress eat yourself back into hopium or something?
No, I just thought they'd be smaller wings.
Oh, okay. Go to Buffalo Wild Wings, you'll never have that problem.
Yeah. Not the biggest fan of Buffalo Wild Wings wings.
Well, it's chicken nuggets. So.
That is true. Give me a sentence real quick.
1 sec.
North America is the worst region possibly ever. Play the video game. Possibly.
I don't know about that, fam. Japan exists right now.
Sure, Japan is getting bodied by everyone and their mother. But. And hey, baby. And hey.
Okay, I think volume-wise we are good to go.
Hog.
Yep.
So,
Good enough. Alright, so what?
you enjoy any of it? You still believe Korea is one of the worst regions?
We'll talk about it in a sec. No need to patronize me early. Welcome, everybody, to the Crossover Podcast. My name is David. As you can tell, the hopium has completely left my voice. No, I'm just kidding. We still have a little bit of hopium. I'm not saying for North America, but we as the West have a little bit of hopium. Because at this point, I'm sorry, it's a battle of the East versus the West. This is my constant co-host, Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Good, how are you?
Shit. Absolute shit. And there's no better way to say it. I just want to die. This has been a rough, 12 hours. Just wake up, watch us get absolutely plastered.
Yeah.
And then all hell just breaks loose.
I'm enjoying listening to you, though.
For what? On TikTok or Twitter? I'm confused. What do you mean?
Oh, listening to you talk right now. Just listening to you come to the realization.
It's not I mean, the thing is that we've known. And I knew
True.
that the hopium would come crashing down hard. I mean, it's not like we didn't call all this a little bit ago that the reality is the likelihood of us getting a team out of groups is not that good.
Yeah.
Now, did anybody expect it to be this bad? Not just across North America, but all the West? No. There's not a single person out there that you can honestly tell me had the West performing their worst weekend ever in history coming.
No.
There's not a single person that would have guessed that.
No, I mean, it felt like there was a chance that we talked about the idea that there could be 8 there could be all 8, the round of 8 could be Korea and China, but I didn't think it would be this like this bad or this overwhelming. I still don't know, man. I don't. Some of them, I'm not like. I mean, obviously, I think Korea China is better than the rest currently. It's just some of it. I still think there's a lot of games left to go. I guess.
I think that's what makes it worse, though, is the fact that like we're not sold on the 3 and 4 seeds from either region. It's just that we are playing so bad to the point where they are still getting in.
Yep.
Like they're not like beyond SKT, Damwon, EDG, and RNG. It legitimately does not feel like anybody is flat out earning their spot in the knock. Okay, well, I don't want to say it that way. They are winning their games as they should, and they are earning their way to it. But it feels like the teams that they're facing are just gift basking into them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the best example of that being Cloud9 versus FPX.
Yeah,
FPX should be 1 and 2 right now.
I agree.
But we live in a world where that did not happen. And Cloud9 chucked a game that should have been theirs through and through.
Yeah, I don't really know what Perks was doing the entirety of that game. Well, not the entirety. My bad. The last half.
Yeah,
like
where
at the
he's
start,
split pushing the entire time.
yeah, I was like, nice. He's doing it up. Maybe there's a chance that they beat FPX, which would be huge. I mean, that's crazy. And then all of a sudden, like, I don't know what he's doing. Fudge has kind of been disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes he looks good. And then I don't know. His laning phase is usually where he was shining, and he's not really shining right now.
No. There's not a single North American nor Western top laner that has impressed me this entire tournament so far. Fudge has looked at best average, and that's against Rogue specifically.
Yeah.
Alfari has not looked good at all this entire tournament. Someday has been more or less irrelevant, which, to be fair, we kind of expected that with Someday. That was the role that we assumed he would be given. So I can't really cut him. I can't really shit talk Someday too much. He's doing his job.
Yeah.
It's just everybody else that's supposed to be stepping up to theirs is not. For Rogue, Odawane got smashed. Absolutely smashed. Who else? Fnatic. Adam is reverting to his Olaf and set picks, which are horrible. And Mad Lions Armut has looked decent, but that's decent as the best we've had out of any of our teams.
Yeah, Armut is, but Armut, yeah, that's how it's pronounced, right?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I don't know why I've had like a brain freeze there on him, but he's like the knight in shining armor currently.
Yeah.
For like Western tops, which isn't really great. But I will say what makes me laugh about it is that he's the knight in shining armor, and last year on TSM's terrible run with the terrible team, Broken Blade was looking the knight in shining armor of like telling people Western tops might be okay. So it seems like there's this trend of Turkish tops being able to hold their own, you know?
Yeah. Like,
it's funny. Not saying that that's going to be a consistent thing that saves the West, but it makes me chuckle. That's about after Armut though. Like, I don't really like anybody else at all. Alfari's doing okay in lanes, and that's
but
nice.
He's been given in most of these matchups counterpick.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's being nice about it. Like, it's saying he's doing okay. And even then, like, I don't ever really feel confident in TL.
No, I like even their first win against Mad Lions felt
Mm-hmm.
more like Mad Lions just not showing up on the day.
Yeah.
And ever since, it has been exactly what we expected the worst case scenario for TL to be. Where it's like mid jungle have been meh at best. Bot lane holds on. Alfari does not smash like he does domestically. And it's just over.
Yep.
I mean, what was it? The TL versus LNG game yesterday was brutal. The only
Agreed.
thing that made that game entertaining was the fact that Kobe was sleep deprived, and that cast was the most hilarious thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yep.
The loonies and toonies debate was freaking hilarious, which, by the way, is a Canadian currency. So yes, loonies and toonies actually exist.
Okay.
But that
Good to
but
know.
that was the part that I remember from that game. That's
Yeah.
how bad it is.
I mean, it was funny. We were like DMing each other, all about that game being like a decider for 100 Thieves, and we were talking about. I was mentioning how I wasn't like really. What was the word I used? This is not inspired. I said I wasn't inspired by their beating of DFM.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. And then we were like, well, we'll know tomorrow at least.
Yep.
And then tomorrow came, and it was honestly like sad to watch.
It was hard to watch.
It was
Like not only did they forget basics of like tracking TPs and everything, but like I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was like week 7 of the LCS. It was actually no, I think it was week 8 or 9. It was TSM versus 100 Thieves, and there was this play where Spica is pathing bot lane and gets to the tri bush before Closer does, and Closer ends up going like 0-2 in a matter of like 7-8 minutes. I'm not sure if you remember that.
Sword Art walked down as well.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
exact same thing that happened to them.
Yeah.
He walks down the tri-bush, doesn't keep track of where the enemy jungler's at, even though there were clear indications of where he would potentially be. And, okay,
And
obviously...
support is missing at a lane.
Yeah, and then obviously, unlucky for FBI's part, the double exhaust is horrible to play against as an ADC. So, nothing against him on that play, other than like them just not communicating well as a team. But it's like, it was bad. And then Abadage missed like 4 straight chains from LeBlanc when it mattered. Like, I kept watching every time. He'd miss it on Faker, missed it on Faker again, missed it on the Lulu, and just couldn't land it to save his life.
Ave has looked very tough in this Worlds. Like, for me, he has not looked great. Nothing to say. Now, I'm not saying you gotta get rid of him. That's not what I'm saying when I say it looks tough. Because I know some people think that. You know what I mean? The second a player struggles, people want to say, oh, let's ship him out. Get rid of him. Done with it. That's not what I mean. But I just don't know if I'm convinced by his performance right now.
I'm convinced enough to the point where I want to see him grow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm convinced. I've seen enough of. He was able to put away 100 Thieves as a whole were able to put away the game that they needed to put away, in not convincing fashion, but at least it wasn't one of those nail biter games that I remember TSM having back in like 2017, 2018, where it was like, okay, shit, they might even lose to the wild card until they pull out the heroics around like 4th and 5th dragon. So it's like, it wasn't that bad. So there was enough signs of them doing that to the extent that it's like, I want to see them continue with the majority of this roster. The only thing that I'm willing to swap out right now from this Worlds, and we've talked about it before, I know Worlds isn't over, I know there's a chance that this could prove itself over time. Put Tenacity in for next year. There's no reason to give Someday another year if the goal is. We'll get into this later because I want to save this discussion for like 20 more minutes away. I want to fully flush out everything currently at Worlds before we start going big picture. But like Someday being irrelevant in top lane is clearly
Yeah.
limiting them to plays around mid or bot, which become way too telepathic.
Yeah. And it's also like it's what we talked about and that one Reddit thread that was talking about top laners basically just getting gapped in every single way possible was like there's not a ton to lose right now with exchanging out your North American resident top laner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna try something, you might as well, because the ceiling that you're losing isn't that high.
No. That was the one thing that we said coming into this Worlds was like this was
True.
going to be the determinant of whether we think 100 Thieves is the real deal, whether they just got lucky. Like this was going to be the thing that tells. The only thing that we were able to tell from this Worlds is that North America is so far behind, and importing any amount of players is not going to change that. So at that point in my mind, if the ceiling of rerunning this roster again next year is the same result at Worlds, which it likely would be,
Mhm.
possibly worse, yeah, I'm willing to put in tenacity and
Yep.
give everybody else time to grow, because I do not. What I don't want is I don't want the. Remember with TL back in 2018, Doublelift was pissed that they replaced Smithy,
Yeah.
and he said he wanted more time to grow. I do buy into that philosophy. I do not want Closer or FBI or Huhi or Abadage to be robbed of their chance to continue to develop for another full year.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with that. Like I think I mean basically FBI and Hui are playing at their peak. So there's not a lot you can do there. And you don't want to waste their peak. Closer, I just feel like you can't trade out Closer because Closer's not terrible right now.
He can't be
And
put on Trundle. I'll tell you that right now.
well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
100
But
Thieves is
it's
not drafting to his
no, no,
pool.
no, no. But it's I don't know what you do if you're them. I mean, also we can save this conversation for later and keep going with the teams. Because I mean, I'm gonna be honest. A lot of these Western teams are gonna need some changes, some amount of change somewhere. Like I don't know what they can do. I honestly don't know who you go get at this point, because
There is
unless
nobody that you can get. There's literally
yeah,
not,
there's
like,
no
even if you pick up Faker, it's not gonna make a difference.
yeah, it's pretty bleak unless you just try out new people and get lucky, I guess. But oh man, it's just a real toughie. I mean, watching them against these Chinese and Korean teams, what hurts the most, I think, is that a lot of these teams from Asia are young.
Yeah.
Like we're I feel like we're just not willing to lose ever. Like at all. And the fear of losing is so great that they won't even like put a new player in for a couple games and see what happens, which I understand if you're trying your heart out to win, you have to do that. And one thing I have noticed is that in the West, we seem to be a lot more like what would the word be? Fans seem to hate the idea of firing someone.
Yeah.
Like they don't like that idea. And I understand it stinks and nobody likes to see it happen and everyone always feels bad. But I think good examples of people that are that if you hire them you're honestly holding the region back would be, and I mean this as kindly as possible to those people. I know they've accomplished more in the league scene than I ever will. But it would be like DeMonte Golden Glue, uh who's the other Acadian. When
Yeah.
you hire guys like that, you're basically saying you don't want to try out anybody new. You also don't expect to win finals. You might win finals with them. You can. All of them have gotten close to finals, but or won it. But you're not expecting to go do anything.
And
Great.
to be clear, this isn't saying that, all players that are older and have experience in League of Legends should just never
Yeah.
play again. Like China and Korea are proving that with younger players, you still need some veteran talent among them.
Hmm.
But these middle of the road players that never won a title are not your veteran talent. Your veteran talent is people like Perks, people like Sven who have been around for a long period of time, you throw in players like Blabber, like Fud. Like, that's the one thing I will give C9 credit for. Blabber's not playing all that well, but he's also not playing scared. He's getting caught out in aggressive positions, but I'd rather that than him do nothing and lose.
Yep.
And it's like, that's the one thing that I will give C9 credit for over every other team so far. 100 Thieves, when they start falling behind, just turtle. Which, or they force, like, the most obvious play. TL just slowly falls apart. C9, in all of their games, have gone out and just tried shit. Is it dumb shit at times? Yeah. But I'd rather that than what we otherwise see, which is what we see every year for the most part, barring this year being arguably way, way worse.
Yeah, I mean, it is way, way worse. Like, it's pretty bad.
To put into context for everybody, this is undisputedly the worst win rate the West has ever had at Worlds through week 1. Somebody on Reddit, specifically user Zolaris, I sorry if I butchered your name, bro. Dating back to 2014, looking at North American teams. We'll isolate this to them. Because when you throw in the West or EU as well, that kind of skews it a little bit. 2014, TSM went 2-1, automatically better than any team this year. C9 also went 2-1. 2015, C9 was 3-0. CLG was 2-1. TSM was 1-2. 2016, CLG was 2-1. TSM was 2-1. C9 was 2-1. 2017, Immortals 2-1. C9 2-1. TSM 2-1. Granted, in all 3 of those years, I will add the caveat, we did collapse in week 2. So, that's not to say that it was great final results, but the point being, we put up a better showing that if we assume the same result now, we're still worse than that no matter what. 2018, TL was 1-2. C9 was 1-2. 100 Thieves was 1-2. So just barely better than what we're at now by 1 game.
Yeah.
2019, C9 was 1-2. TL was 2-1. Clutch Game was 0-3. Same thing, one game ahead. And last year was the only year where we have tied our record where FlyQuest was 1-2, TSM was 0-3, TL was 1-2. We were in the same spot that we were last year.
That's awful.
Notably, the 2 years that we have performed the worst, where North America has had the worst placings out of everybody, were the 2 years that China and one other region, last year was Europe, this year it's Korea, had 4 teams per region.
That's an interesting thing to add. That's like an interesting caveat.
Well, before we dive into that, because I want to go down that slippery slope very shortly. Do you have anything else you want to add before, or like heading into quote unquote week 2?
I do want to add something to the last conversation we just had.
Yeah.
Just to finish it real quick. This will be the last thing, but just for people to understand like what we mean by trying people out. EDG, JJ was born in 2001. On RNG, Wei, Krine, and Gala were all born after 2000. Like, these Chinese teams aren't running this with veterans. They're running Worlds with some young guns out there. And these are their lower seeds, right? But I mean, RNG won MSI, so they're no slouches.
No.
And this is their 3rd seed team. Like, I wish I could sit here and say our 3rd seed team was 2 rookies in Gala and Wei, and Krine being like, I think he's 2nd or 3rd year type guy. Like, that's not what we have though. Right now, we're staring down our 3rd seed being pretty old.
Yeah.
And our 2nd seed being once again pretty old. And our 1st seed being one of our younger ones, to be honest. But definitely not rookies. So, like, that's something I just am a little worried about. And then adding that with our results have been getting worse, and we're sending roughly the same people every single year. I mean, some of those teams you mentioned, we have some guys who were there last year at Worlds right now, and it's getting no better. So
To be
I
fair,
don't.
the same team that you were hyped about for next year, including Bjergsen, would technically be a replica of that.
Are you talking about the TSM team?
Yeah, assuming.
Well, I don't want that. I'm saying that's what it's gonna be.
I know. I just want to make sure, like, I want to, like, further emphasize the point of, like, this is not a trend that's going to be bucked anytime soon.
Oh yeah, no. Like I wish TSM would go buy Doggo or like some young buck LPL ADC or some young buck top from some region, but unfortunately the reality of the situation is we're probably getting Reckless and Bjerg. And we're gonna like it.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna get over it. That's the only two options we have.
Yeah.
That's about it. And just to remind people, if you want to even think about how bad the problem truly is, TSM's Academy top laner is Hanser. So Huni will be our top.
Unless you buy somebody out, which at this point.
Yeah, which at this
I
point
highly
would just
doubt.
be sending. Where this is literally a last run type team. Like this is like Peyton Manning on the Broncos.
I'll tell you who you get, okay? You get Wonder top lane.
Yeah, but they can't. They already
Why?
have. They already
Why?
have Sword Art and Reckless.
But what I'm saying is you ditch Reckless.
They're not going to do
You
that
once
for
again
Danny.
go balls to the wall on Danny.
They're not going
and-
to do it.
Why not?
I just don't think they'll do it. I think Bjerg wants to play with Reckless.
I feel like that's a reckless decision, but, you know.
I agree, but they owe Bjerg that much.
You're not wrong. That's the shitty part.
Yeah. But
So-
that right there is part of the West mentality.
Yeah. So, I guess speaking of the West mentality, we'll go into this because this is gonna take up the overwhelming majority of the time from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell do we do?
What to fix? Are you talking about to win now?
No, I'm talking
Worlds?
long term. I'm sorry, but I don't give a fuck about winning now. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing we can do to beat China or Korea in the next 2 years. There's no chance. And so long as the rule is going to continue to be, and likely will be for an extended period of time given international results, China and Korea are going to have 4 teams each going into Worlds. What the hell do we do as the West to possibly even contend? Because at this rate, it is just going to be 8 teams from those or 8 teams from the West or 8 teams from the East in knockout stage every single year, barring one upset.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna start it with stay tuned if you want to hear us actually talk about the West or the Eastern teams that have been winning, because I will talk about those games later because they're dope. But to fix the West, lift the import rule. I don't know.
That doesn't change culture.
I know people are gonna hate lifting the import rule, but well, for starters, removing all chat is an interesting decision by Riot Games. NA League of Legends seems to be dying. I don't know how you save it. I'm not exactly sure how. I don't love playing the game that much anymore, personally.
But do you
I
enjoy
don't-
watching?
I enjoy watching it.
That's
I
good,
just don't-
'cause I think you're in the
Yeah.
stage of life. You and I are both in the stage of life where, like, if we can't play, it's no big deal, so
Yeah.
long as we have the ability to watch it.
Yes.
But that's
Now-
intentional in the
yeah.
same way that football and basketball are the same way for people our age as well. You
Yes.
shouldn't. You don't want to be playing all the time. You should be watching. It's on the younger generations to play, and the younger generations
Yes.
are not playing League of Legends at the same rate.
Yep. And some of the issues I really just can't stand with what the West is doing, I would say, is definitely holding on to people. I think that there's going to be a lot of pain if we want to get better. I think it's going to hurt really bad. I think a lot of people are going to have to go. I know there's a lot of people who need to make a living, and this is the way they do it. But there's going to be a lot of people getting fired because, unfortunately, when your region constantly loses, and you don't have one dominant team, like this isn't one of those. Basically, we are at this point. We're not a Power 5 school anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we're not a Power 5 conference. We're the Big 12 in college football. You know what I mean? We're like, we might have an Oklahoma, but unfortunately, we're even worse than the Big 12 in the sense of we have no Oklahoma. We don't have a team to send to get destroyed at Worlds every single year consistently. We haven't been doing that. We haven't been sending a number one team with any amount of even fake hope to put up a fight against the better SEC schools, which is, I mean, it's a good analogy because Oklahoma's the West and SEC Southeast.
It's almost identical because it's like China is the SEC and Korea is the Big Ten.
Yep, and we're the Big 12 and the Pac-12 trying to make a
actually
living.
yeah, we're the Pac-12.
We're the Pac-12.
We had our run like 3 years ago, and now we just can't find
well,
anything.
NA is the Pac-12 because we just stink, and EU's the Big 12.
Yeah,
because they've sent a couple teams to make some noise, but they've never actually done anything worth writing home about.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's the issue is, we're gonna have to start cutting people because there's no coaches in the Pac-12 that survive forever because none of them end up being relevant.
Yeah.
So they get fired. And in college football, you get more time because in college football, there's more money. In NA, there's not a lot of money right now. Well, there's a ton of money to buy players, but there's not exactly a ton of money coming in intrinsically from the broadcast. And unfortunately, the money that is there is investor money, and investors want it back at some point. Yeah. So you have to start making money. And the only way to do that is probably going to be not paying these insane salaries, which is going to be a thing that probably slows down at some point. Even if the salaries stay the same, they're not going to go up like they have been astronomically. Buyouts are going to go down because I don't see teams willing to buy out for these crazy prices. And you're going to see quite a bit of turnover. I mean, there has to be turnover. Like, Jizuke getting replaced by Jojo Poon should be a thing. If he doesn't, I'll be disappointed.
That is epitome of NA. If he is not replaced by Jojo Poon, that is the clear-cut example of exactly the problem we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, TSM's already that problem. They look how long they struggled to make Spica a legitimate player on their team.
He should have been within the first year.
He should have been a year before, yeah. Like, the second that kid was 17 and they were starting Grig and Acadian, they should have just looked at Spica, said, we have a 17-year-old prodigy. Yes, we think we should be winning right now. Did we really? Can someone tell me that we truly believed Grig and Acadian were better off throwing in there with all the information we had back then than Spica? I highly doubt it. And Spica might have hit his peak earlier, and Broken Blade and Spica would have had an extra year together of time.
Yeah.
Which is huge, huge. And yes, maybe Sven and Mithy would have hated having to talk so much to him and all that. Or like whoever was our Smoothie might have hated having to explain some things to him. But would Spica have pushed the team? Yes, he does that in Legends all the time. And that's what young players do. I assume Danny's level of play pushes EG. Yeah. Because when you have a rookie come in and start performing better than some of your other starters on the team, do start looking around like they're worried about their job. Because that means kids yes, they should be. It's sports. That's what sports is. If you hate that about sports, you're in the wrong, you're just in the wrong profession.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate. I hate to say it, but you should be afraid to be replaced. That's what sports are. It's not like, and people go, oh, but that's such a cruel way of doing things. Well, in the military, it's not that much better. In the military, you're not going to promote if you don't outperform your peers. The same dude I'm working with every day and I'm best friends with and I drink with, I'm literally trying to outscore him on a promotion test to promote above him, to be better than him.
Yeah.
That's life. Unfortunately, in life, when you do anything that's competitive, which is usually how the American work system is, and really every country, everything's competitive. That's like just how it is. So these dudes shouldn't feel like what they're doing is any different from the rest of the world. Like, yeah, you're afraid to lose your job, but I mean, if you had a bad like 3 months of work, you'd probably get called up by your job and told we're letting you go.
Yep.
Or you get a lot of warnings.
Yep.
And they'd replace you. So we have to ditch that mindset. Have to.
I agree.
Like,
and a lot of that
bad.
comes down to, I hate to say it, but a lot of the fans of League of Legends are A, young, B, never had to have any sort of semblance of competition or responsibility in their life outside of gaming, because let's face it, gamers are fairly introverted. And while there is a decent subsection of crossover between people who have an athletic background or sports background that then go into League, that's not the vocal portion, which has a quantifiable effect on changes that are made. So it's like, look, if there's 200,000 fans of League of Legends, then I'd say probably about 100,000 actually understand that and get that and are dealing with it in regular life. But there's also 100,000 that are way louder that just have no semblance at all of what this is. And the second a little bit of competition comes in, they don't get their way, they get really fickle about it.
Yep. And it is like very true about the competition thing, because it's unfortunate. Sometimes people hate, when their starter doesn't make the cut. But literally, I can't answer that right now. I'll call him back. But some people like go, oh man, I want my guy to start. Why isn't my guy starting? This is upsetting me. Why'd he get kicked off or whatever?
Fuck your guy.
Yeah,
All
but
that
it's
matters
like,
is the system development.
yeah, it's winning. And like, you know what just happened to Spencer Rattler? 5-star QV at Oklahoma. He got benched and his backup came in and led a comeback against Texas and they won. And a lot of people are saying, oh, I feel so bad for Spencer Rattler. He lost his job to another 5-star quarterback. And it's like,
Congrats. That's the whole point.
Yeah, he'll have to transfer portal out, and maybe he'll perform better wherever he goes to, and maybe he will end up being the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe he does. But unfortunately, that's not the place where he's going to be the best. Like, just not how it is. And I'm going to read this question from Joel real quick. More of a hot take. I personally think the era of EU being considerably better than NA is over now that G2 imploded.
I completely
definitely
agree.
Yeah, I think it's very possible.
I don't think
agree.
it's possible. I fully agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the West as a whole is in this spot where for North America, we've continuously bought out the West top talent for years. Alfari left, and Alfari was the most promising top laner that they had. Perkz was the best in-game leader that Europe had at the moment. And currently, while you have very talented young players like Adam, and even, I mean, just looking at this world, Bean is an incredible ADC. The fact that he's been able to slot in and play this well is good. But there's not a noticeable difference, all things considered. And for players like Adam, who was probably like one of the more hyped people, they're locked into like this, I don't want to call it the one-trick mentality, but that's kind of what it is to a certain extent. It's like, I'm sorry, but you should not be playing Olaf top anymore unless like it's a very, very specific situation.
Yeah.
You should be playing the meta picks. And quite frankly,
Totally
if we ever want to compete against China in the West, I want to see way more goddamn Fiora. Way more.
Yeah.
Like, way more Fiora, way more Jax, like, way more of these I'm going to fuck you up
Greats.
top laners that just take over a game with the slightest misstep and their team understand to go on. There's not a single player across Europe or North America right now that stands up to that, and they're all of equal playing field. So yeah, I'm fully in agreement that the era of EU is, as we knew it, over, but it also never technically started because it was mostly the same players.
Yeah. And it's not like they can't go back to that. It's just that their G2 for them was their like 2016, 2017 TSM,
Yeah.
and their peak was way higher. So instead of having like that 2016, 17 TSM or the what was it, 19, 18, 19 TL, or was it 18, 19,
Uh,
right?
yeah, it would have been 2019 TL, which made it the semifinals, or made the
Yeah.
finals at MSI.
Yeah, that era of TL and TSM could never quite get the same success at Worlds. So they ended up not going as crazy as EU's high did. But EU being back at our level isn't a shocking thing.
No, we've seen this coming all year. We said Europe is weaker
Yeah.
than prior years. We didn't know
Yeah.
by how much, because I will say COVID definitely has an impact on this, where it's like we are restricting our ability to fully see what talent looks like on the global scale because of
Yep.
this. Players are not able to go boot camp as much. They're not able to train in other countries. Like, that's the big thing that people forget about this, is like players like Vulcan, and I think this actually has a significant impact on the gap as well. Players in their off season have a lot harder time going to boot camp in foreign countries than they did previously.
Yeah.
Whether that's in the off season, whether that's mid season during like the MSI break, when teams like Cloud9 or whoever's going to MSI are there, you can also travel to just play there as well.
Yeah.
We haven't had any of that in 2 years.
Yep.
And I think that significantly affects our ability to read the meta and understand some of the basic levels of Asian play that has just slowly bled out over
Yep.
time. Will that improve for next year? Possibly. Who knows?
Maybe.
But it depends. It depends how many. The question will be, when we look at this offseason, how many players from TSM, from 100 Thieves, from Cloud9, and Team Liquid go to China or Korea in late November, all of December, and then January. Because if they don't do it, we're in for another rough year.
Hmm.
It's the sad truth. You have to go over there if you want to understand how they play.
And I think genuinely that Spica was going over there to find a mid laner. Because Spica was supposed to be in Korea right now, boot camping, and the second the Bjergsen rumor came out that he was going back to TSM, Spica announced that he wasn't going to boot camp anymore in Korea. Like, I genuinely think in their head they were thinking, they were like, "Oh man, we need to go over there and find this next like kid at a solo queue to come play," which kind of makes me chuckle a little, because that's even more on our idea of like, we're so hard stuck on going over there to get players and talent that dudes over here won't even like type to some top laner in solo queue and be like, "Hey man, maybe you are a one trick, I don't know, maybe you do, yeah, X, Y, or Z, but let's try to get a few games in and see if we can get you there." Now, obviously, bring back duo queue. Please bring back duo queue. It's not helpful to have challengers not duo queuing. With one, it's bad for streaming. Some of the greatest League of Legends streams ever was when like I'm a Cutie Pie and Dyrus would duo, or I'm a Cutie Pie Anybot, whatever it was, and it just sucks without duo. And two, it helps these guys find these next dudes and be like, "Hey, you can come here and play with us." And I wish it wasn't the way it was, but unfortunately, it seems like most of our guys go to other countries anyways to find talent. And like you said, they also go over there to boot camp. So at this point, I'm not even sure how we develop here. Like, I'm not sure what the develop plan is, because there isn't one.
I am willing to go out on this limb and say this now. I know this is a controversial opinion, but it is what it is. League of Legends esports in North America will never in its lifetime be able to catch up to Asian countries. Therefore, we have one of two options. Either A, you give up on the idea of winning worlds entirely, and you focus on the prestige of winning LCS and adding entertainment value that way people can make money from this. And people can maintain a profitable level. Salaries are eventually going to deflate, but you have it so that the North American ecosystem is sustainable, which in time will eventually lead to American talent developing, growing, and maybe you can change the culture, but that's going to take like 10 to 15 years.
Yep.
Or B, you completely get rid of the import rule, and you completely get rid of everything that makes, quote, the North American LCS what it is. And if you're truly committed to winning worlds, you just start straight importing challenger teams over in China. And you have to inject so much talent into solo queue and actually invest the resources into fixing that as well. But even then, both of those scenarios do not change the fact that younger people are not playing League of Legends at the pace that we need them to in order for a system to maintain itself.
True.
So League, in that sense only, is dying in North America. And quite frankly, is already dead. Like, a tree can still live and still, like, look decent despite being dead for years. The ecosystem underneath us is completely gone. It's non-existent. It's not there. And I'm starting to think that it never will be.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that China doesn't allow kids to play games anymore.
Yeah. Which it arguably is one of our greatest assets.
Yeah, but that's also like one of the game as a whole's greatest problems.
Yeah, but
Because that's our best region.
I'm not worried about it because I think that region will still maintain itself. Like, despite which I don't know if anybody else saw this, but there's like RNG's financial troubles are boiling. Like, they are actually like in some serious fiscal trouble. But beyond that, it's like, I don't know. In terms of the West, because I'm not worried about Asia. Asia, when the game dies in Asia, it'll be really quick. It'll just happen overnight and it'll be gone. I don't know what you do in the West. I don't think there is anything you can do, to be honest. I think we've just moved on at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard because, I see. He said, look at how many fans some players bring with them, like Jose Dioto and FBI.
We don't,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we don't need more fans of players. We need more fans of organizations that will follow them despite the players leaving. Jose Dioto is great for FlyQuest coming in temporarily, but when FlyQuest can't capitalize on that, and the majority of their quote-unquote fans will probably leave after Jose Dioto's kicked from the team, or you feel an over-reliance to keep him on the team because he has a fan base, that's where our problems lie.
Yeah. Now, it is an interesting thing is, like, I feel like there's only a couple orgs that could actually, well, there's a few orgs that could really bring in a full imported roster and the fans not care. Like, I think TSM could do a full imported roster and TSM fans wouldn't blink an eye because they'd keep cheering because TSM is pretty universal, you know what I mean? And people just don't seem to care.
I agree with you, but I also think you can add Golden Guardians and Immortals into that because they don't have fans. So therefore, there's no way to get upset about it.
That's what I was meaning. A few of them could. I think some fans would be a little disappointed if their team just started importing everybody. But I think majority would let it be because there's not a ton you can do, really. I mean, if you're trying to win worlds at this point, which I don't know if that saves the region. I doubt it saves the region. But at this point, I feel like winning will be the only way to get some viewership back.
It is. That's literally the only answer. And Joel, just to follow up, I get your point, but as a business, we are well past the development stage. We are no longer at the point where players can shape organizations. We are too corporate and too structured at this point for any players to have that sort of impact ever again in League of Legends. It just won't happen. It's not possible. The players that will become staple names are going to be your franchise players and star players like a Tom Brady, who can come in and they can help reinvigorate a franchise that can help build it from the bottom up.
Danny.
But at the end of the day, like, it's not. You're never gonna have. Like, even when Tom Brady left, there were people that went to Tampa Bay because of Tom Brady, but that's still a very small minority. The majority of Patriots fans remain Patriots fans, and the majority of Tampa Bay fans remain Tampa Bay fans with a few bandwagon people, but that's about it.
And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really hard to save North American League. I think next season is gonna be really tough because either viewership is gonna just be crashed out of its mind, or I don't know what happens. Though it's gonna sound weird, but this is how I think they can help with their viewership problems. Even though I don't love that this is gonna help it, but putting Bjergsen and Reckless on the same team might actually help with some issues.
I get that it will.
I
But
know
here-
we don't love it, but we're simping, bro, at this point for views. Like-
Here's the thing, I'm not. I don't give a fuck if the viewership for
Well,
the
yeah,
LCS
they-
declines. I
they
know
do.
I'm in the minority on that, but like, the reason why European League is so strong right now and why viewership is continuously increasing for them is because they have a great structure and system around them, to the point where their minor leagues are getting hundreds of thousands of views, which develops hype into players gaining, or hype for players coming into the main league.
Yep.
And then the main league just reaps the benefits of that. Now, are they profitable? No. Are they succeeding at Worlds this year? No, but also they're in a transitional period. It's been like
Yeah.
that for every sport. Like, look at golf, for example. Tiger Woods dominates the entire 2000s. And then from 2000, right around 2011 to 2000, like, even 17, before, like, Brooks Koepka came in, there was nobody that could consistently win. And there was just nobody that was, like, you'd have spurts where, like, somebody would come and perform at the top level, but they could never sustain it. They could never maintain it. And it
Yep.
took 10 years until Brooks Koepka came and finally was doing the exact same thing. So the LEC, while in a down year this year, they've had such good sustained growth over time that I have no doubt that the players will eventually be able to get there. They have a lot of young talent in the LEC.
Yeah, they do.
They just need to get out of the current meta mental state that they're in, which I think for them is a lot more easily fixable than it is for North America.
Yep.
The raw talent
agree.
is there.
Yeah. And they're but yeah, them doing it is gonna be insanely hard. I mean, it's such a weird spot. The LEC has a better future than us, at least, though, and you're not wrong there. I definitely think something I thought was interesting that I heard maybe LS or Dom talking about was that Riot not allowing co-streaming on Academy just doesn't make sense.
Agreed. Yeah, 100% agreed on that. If anything, you should be co-streaming every Academy game, but not allowing co-streaming on the main games.
Yeah,
I
could see that.
still maintain the view that co-streaming is, at this point, bad for North American League of Legends.
if I were them, genuinely, this would sound wacky, but I would send a pretty decent check to Tyler One, like to get him to do maybe a couple games every now and then. You know what I mean? Like
I mean-
you not because that's like the greatest thing in the world that's gonna save North American League, but Tyler One is going to at least get somebody to watch it.
You're not wrong. But,
Like-
again, that's a Band-Aid over a bullet wound.
I know, but that's a pretty well. It might not be though. If it gets people to start playing, it might
Does
not
it,
be the
though?
worst.
Because the majority of Tyler One's audience is already playing the game or has played the game. The people
That's
that you get,
true.
the people that
That's
you get
true.
for him watching the game are not the people that you want. What you want is people like Valkyrie and Courage streaming it. If those two co-stream it, then it's great because they're exposing audiences that are not endemic to League of Legends to the game.
Yeah,
But this is
I
also
think-
this is the same. Let me ask you this: who would you rather have streaming or co-streaming the LCS? Cutie Cinderella or Valkyrie? both pull almost the exact or similar amounts of viewers on their live streams.
Oh. ¿Por qué no los dos? Do one week, one the next? I say both.
My answer is really simple. I'd 100% pick Valkyrie.
Well, you like 100 Thieves.
No, because Cutie Cinderella already plays League on a consistent basis.
Yeah, but you're gonna get more people to watch the Cutie Cinderella and Tyler One stream.
I get that, and
you're going for a number at this point.
But that's the thing. My intention is not to go for a number. My intention is to get people into the game. Expose League of Legends, or at least the competitive esports side, to people who have never been exposed to it, or at least just haven't had sustained time with it. They might have heard about it from a friend, but they've never taken more than like 2 minutes to watch it.
I think then you would want to do Cutie Cinderella and Valkyrie together.
Yeah, no, that would be perfect in an ideal world. I'm just saying that in the hypothetical where you have to pick one or the other. Obviously, there's better answers out there, and where you combine the two and merge them.
Now, here's one for you. Here's why you should. I got you why you should pick Cutie Cinderella over over Valkyrie. Ready? Have Ludwig come with her.
Oh my God! Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Boom. Offer her a huge thing like that. But that's not obviously this isn't going to save the game, and we're not saying like this is going to be the only thing that doesn't, but I think it helps. It helps when you have random people hyping it up and getting crazy numbers. When people see a single streamer or a streamer with another person and no production quality behind them, like getting crazy numbers with some turning in the background, and then you have one little command that sends you to this website, to explain to you what the event is. Yeah. People for some reason, people eat it up. I don't know why they eat it up, but they do. Tyler One, I remember Tyler One, the last time he did a T1 Invitational, it got more views than what we're getting now with LCS sometimes.
Yep.
Which isn't great.
No.
That's not good. But it at least is fun, I guess. And I don't know.
That's where it's I think you need to overhaul the teams that are in the league. Desperately. Golden Guardians, Immortals, CLG cannot continue to bring in the shitty viewership that they do on their games. They just don't have fans. Replace them with FaZe Clan, Mr. Beast team, and whoever the hell else you want to bring in that is just going to bring some hype to the game. I don't care if people get pissed off by the annoying, 13-year-old Mr. Beast fans. Whatever. There's 100,000 of them that'll tune in just because Mr. Beast is telling them to tune in. And when we live in an influencer culture, we need that. We need people saying, hey, tune into my team, not tune into my stream. There's a massive difference between the two there, and that's the difference between a dominant LS and from a North American perspective, because obviously LS and T1, that's different in Korea. But dominant LS with North American teams and Mr. Beast with a North American team. Mr. Beast isn't going to co-stream it. He's going to tell everybody, watch during this time.
Yeah. And if it gets your socks off to see him, your rocks off, my bad. But if it gets it off to see this man co-stream it, then fine, let him co-stream 1 or 2. I don't know. Yeah. Who cares? But it's not something that has to be all the time like they're doing now. Now, it's kind of working, but the people that they have doing it aren't really people that are massive. They're just not massive people. And no offense to them, they make plenty of money doing it. But LS and Dom aren't huge.
No.
Double Lift is pulling what both of them get combined.
Now,
and that's not really where I think you want to be. I don't think you want Double Lift being one of your big driving factors of viewership at this point in his career.
Especially, and I'm going to reiterate this because I know I can already see it coming. I know I'm going to be pissed off about this next year. I swear to God, if Dom, LS, Sneaky, Meteos, and Double Lift, if they do nothing but shit talk the LCS again next year, I'm going to be pissed. We know
Yeah.
that we're bad. We already know that coming into it. If you're just sitting there lambasting the league for clicks and views because that's what you think is going to drive viewership, is you critiquing it, I don't fucking want it. I don't. We're better off not having you. We're better off having, like, we need to come to the realization that we're bad, stop talking about it and over embracing that constantly, and start taking the steps to fix our systems underneath. Like, that's what we need. I'm getting pissed off already thinking about it. Just seeing the double F clips pop up on my feed in January of next year. Oh, look at this game. Week 1, already bad. We're screwed for Worlds this year. Going to be the worst year we've ever had. I'm going to lose it if I see it. Absolutely lose it. I may be critiquing the hell out of North America right now because I care about it. But at the end of the day, when the product is on, I'm not going to lambast the product. I'm going to say that we didn't do a good enough job of developing our systems underneath it. But I'm not going to actively shit on it.
Trying to find the numbers for last year's Worlds. Because this year, I feel like at least the international events are getting a lot of views, right?
Oh, yeah. The first day viewership of Worlds this year was higher than last year.
Good. Okay. So it's not dying for Worlds.
No, the international events are doing insanely well. League as a global esports is growing.
And didn't LCK go up?
Yeah. LCK went up, LPL went up, and LEC went up. North America is the only one that went down.
Yeah, and I know LCK was pulling 100K for like regular season games on English broadcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, the thing that people got to realize is that we are going to start bleeding LCS viewers into the other regions because they're more sustainable.
Yeah. And I think something to go off that is exactly what you're talking about. Our co-streamers are even taking people there.
Yeah.
Which is having a negative effect, I'd say, on the fan base style of watching and ecosystem. Because I've noticed a lot of, North American people trash talk our teams. Now,
a lot.
Though I would say the biggest way you'd be able to save North American League is like the most long shot thing of all. The only thing you could do is pray to God we send a team to finals next year in North America.
I mean, you would hope.
Which isn't gonna happen. I mean, both of us know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way unless Bjerg and Reckless, like, and Spica somehow, like, and what Bjerg, Reckless, and Spica become just unstoppably good, and Huhi and FBI are just pushing Reckless and Sword Art are pushing each other to like some weird high hopium level of strength, and for some reason Abadage and Bjerg are pushing each other. Like, I just don't see how it happens.
It won't.
There's
no way.
Yeah. And I mean, if it could happen, then more power to us, I guess. I don't know.
The thing that I will say, I know this can't happen in League, but this is, in my opinion, is the best example of it. One of the reasons why esports blew up in the late 2000s, obviously with the popularity of Halo and Call of Duty, was because of open events. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, because it has been many years, even starting with this year, Halo Infinite is going to have tournaments where it has a franchise league, but there are open brackets still, where any player or any team can just walk up to the event, pay to play, and potentially qualify to work your way up against the best teams. You can have a franchise system where that also works and you have a proper open system like that. But what that does when you have events every single month that are out in the public, it gets people the ability to play. Even if you're entering for a joke, like say you and I decide like, hey, we're going to get you, me, and 3 of our followers or TikTok subscribers and be like, yeah, we're going to go play in LCS MLG Vegas. We're going to fly out to Vegas and just play in the tournament. Yeah, we're going to get shit stomped, but we're going to play. That is the core of esports that was existing whenever we were growing rapidly, but has gone away, and I feel like hurts us the most. the ability to get hands-on with the game in a competitive environment is so important. There's a reason why Halo's going back to it. Call of Duty, I don't know if they'll ever fully go that way, but quite frankly, I think they need it to a certain extent.
Yep.
But it's like, I don't know what you do. The other thing that I would like to see, and it won't happen, but I think it'd just be so cool, is do you remember the MLG tournament that had Call of Duty, Halo, League of Legends, and all that? Bring that back. But you don't have, the thing with LCS is like, you don't have to do that for finals, but like have it like, I've been saying that the LCS needs to tour for a while to get the product in front of people. Have like week 6 of the LCS is at DreamHack Anaheim. And you get to watch games played in front of a crowd there alongside like going to see Halo and all the other events as well.
Well, you can even do that in-house. Just go to an arena and do a Valorant and League event.
Yeah. Combine the two.
Yeah, go to any arena, pick an arena, and do a Valorant and League event. And you'll probably get, you'll get people to come. I don't know how many. I don't know if it's going to go perfect, but you're going to get people to come. And that's really all you're there for. Because that's, like, the goal at this point.
We just need people.
I mean, it's, yeah, you're not going to, it's so hard. You're probably not going to save it all, though. I don't know. I just don't know how you will. But, yeah, it's sad, I guess. I don't know.
All I can say is this. Look, I got my 45 minutes of complaining about like our infrastructure and things that I want to see changed out of the way.
Yeah.
But I'll repeat this. I have never been more proud, even despite our shitty results, to be a fan of North American League of Legends. I love our players. I love most of our teams. And ultimately, I say this because I want it to grow and I care about it. Mm-hmm. If I didn't care, I wouldn't spend this amount of time on it. I'm not spewing negativity. I'm spewing constructive criticism of things that I think can improve.
Yeah.
If you don't think that even after we go, 0-9 in the next few days of Worlds, that I'm still not going to be on the first day of LCS next year, hyped as hell, ready to smash TSM because Paul's on the other side of this, because fuck Paul, yeah, I'm going to be hyped as shit.
And we're going to finals once this COVID stuff ends.
Yes, I'm going to try and make it a point every single finals to go out to them.
Yep.
And travel to them. And just promote League, because that's what I'm doing on TikTok now. The whole point of all this is just to try and gain any exposure that I can for League of Legends esports scene. Because we desperately need it.
Important thing to note for all the people worried. I'll say this for you and I at least. The interest in watching League certainly isn't dead.
Nope.
That or Twitch is just becoming a better player for worldwide people, which I don't think is happening that much. I think just the interest isn't dead. Because the most watched game so far of T1 versus Detonation Focus Me got 2.2 million. And last year, a quarterfinals game got 2.3.
I'm curious to see what the quarterfinals and semifinals go this year. Because let's send this podcast off on a positive note. China and Korea have been crushing it.
And they're playing beautiful League. I want to say that now.
Yeah.
They're playing beautiful League. If you aren't enjoying watching them, you're out of your mind. Because this stuff has been beautiful. These guys play Graves just beautifully.
What semifinal or finals matchup do you think draws the most amount of viewership?
For the world? Or
for Worlds. Like, what do you think would be the most
Chinese and a Korean team? Pick any. Doesn't matter. You want a Chinese and a Korean team.
Here's what I want to see, because I think this would be phenomenal. I want to see a semifinal of SKT versus FPX and Damwon versus EDG. Then I don't want the same region to win both of them. I want it to be like, T1 beats EDG and Damwon beats FPX, or FPX beats T1, and then Dam1 beats EDG. And then we have like the pure region versus region final that we deserve.
Well, how does the quarters work? Is it a draw?
It's a random draw. You cannot be on the same side as the team in your group. So we are guaranteed that you cannot see a rematch of EDG SKT until the finals, and you cannot see FPX versus Dam1 until the finals, which is perfect.
Oh, okay.
So by default, they have to be on other sides of the bracket.
Well, there's gonna be a team that ruins that for you, and you know who that is.
RNG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wei and Gala just getting better.
But I'm fine with that.
I also like want to say this. When I was watching the RNG game against PSG, and it is PSG, yes, okay,
Yeah.
against PSG, and I saw this man Gala flash under tower, the enemy team tower, with against a 2v1. He's versus two people. He flashes under tower to auto Q on MF on the enemy bot laner and kill him, and then runs away and gets away with his life. I was like, show me a Western ADC who has the balls to flash under the enemy tower at a world's competition and do that.
None.
That's why I'm telling people we need kids like Danny go into these things.
Yep.
Because that's who Gala is. Remember that finals, that playoffs game where there was nothing more electric and genuinely one of the most hopeful moments I think I've had watching North American League of Legends when Danny clutched that 2v1.
Yeah.
That was beautiful against 100 Thieves. And you know the one I'm talking about. I don't remember all the champs, but we both remember it because it was that good of a play.
Rise and Gangplank, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that, and it was just beautiful. And stuff like that just hasn't been happening on this side of the pond. So watching it at a Worlds event has just been awesome, like genuinely awesome. And all the 1v1s have been sick. Like the amount of 1v1s that happen and this stuff is crazy. There was even like some mini play at the end of the game where like Nuguri, I don't know how to say his name right. Nuguri. Okay, Nuguri was sitting there and he like threw a bunch of spells out on Jace and like flashes to kill Humanoid right before they kill the Nexus. Yep. And like the play was genuinely sick. Like it was a really cool play. I think he even missed something, but I didn't care. I was like, that was a dope play. And like stuff like that we just don't get to see here.
Yeah.
Like I wish we did. I wish I wasn't this like watching it and being like, they get to watch this every week. That's unfair. Like, and I know I do too because I watch highlights and I get up for Chinese games. But the fact that they get to watch it in their time zone is just elite. I wish I was getting this in my time zone. Like genuinely. I was getting this in my time zone.
This kind of makes me wish for that global league. I wish.
A global league?
Yeah, global league.
Oh, I see what you mean.
32 team global league.
Stop.
Tours around. You spend 2 months in each country.
Bro, they'd have no lives.
Yeah. I mean I'm not disagreeing. The regional league is ultimately like the best solution that we have given everything else. But like, I want to watch more LPL, but I can't with the time zone and I can't get myself to watch highlights. I really can't.
Yeah.
If I'm not watching it live, I'm not watching it at all. So it's like, I want to so bad.
Yeah, and it's so fun. Like Worlds is so fun watching these Asian teams, and I'll be bought into their hype in a couple of days here. But
we just got to get over like the Western hopium collapsing and like.
Well, I don't even have to deal with it because TSM's not there, so I don't care. I've just been laughing.
Now you know how we felt about TSM for.
No, because the only reason I'm laughing is because you all laughed at me first. I'm watching you all get to sit in your little pit of that you've made. You've made this pit.
Yep.
Of
we did.
What is it? Of cockiness when an American team loses. American fans are the worst because they'll cheer against themselves. They don't care. They never care. They'll sit there and like you think every time Cloud9 loses, I go, dang, NA League could die. I watch Cloud9 lose and I go, huh, huh, losers, you suck. I'm like, sucks to be you. Wish you cheered for a better team, don't you? Dang. 0-3 on your way to 0-6. That'd be such a shame if they went 0-6. How would I recover if they went 0-6?
Hey, it's okay.
Oh,
The
my
West
goodness.
did in one day what took TSM 4 total days to do. Go 0-6.
True. And Cloud9's about to show you how to do it in 4 as well.
No, I don't think Cloud9 goes completely defeated. I think they pull off an upset against somebody.
I hope they go completely defeated so bad.
I mean, I think it would be better for the region if they did.
They
like
better go 3-0.
the best thing for the region would technically be like we lose every single game, barring like the Detonation Focus Me. That should be the one game that we win because we are better than the minor regions. Like that's
No, we need TL or 100 Thieves to get out.
they're not.
Well, we
It's
need
not
1-2.
It's not happening.
Well,
I hate to say that I've given up on the Hopium, but
no, we'll have one of them get out. I've said this since the jump. You told me C9 and 100 Thieves, right? When I said, remember when I
Yeah.
texted you a few days ago and said one of TL or 100 Thieves is getting out?
yeah. I mean, well, realistically, 100 Thieves
Yeah.
still arguably stands the best chance because they should beat DFM, and literally all they have to do is beat SKT.
Yeah.
And then that forces a tiebreaker, and it's in their own hands. Like 100 Thieves 100% controls their destiny from here on out. TL is just a crapshoot. You have no clue what to expect with them. And C9, had they won any of the 2 games that they should have won, I would arguably say stands the best chance. But because they couldn't pull off one of them, they have the worst chance.
No, C9 either goes 0-3 or 3-0. The next day they play,
or
Friday.
2-1 because they lose the first one, completely eliminate themselves, and the second they're carefree, they 2-0.
No, they won't be carefree. They're gonna be depressed. I can tell from
Maybe.
their roster vibes. They either go full mental boom or they pop off. That's the only way that C9 is gonna play out. Because when they got like super hosed at MSI, PCE beat them.
True.
Like when they get super giga hosed, they lose. So if they're either going 3-0 or 0-3, you've heard it here first. That's such a wild call to make, I know, because that's like one of the 2 of the 4 or 6 outcomes that could happen. Yeah, insane.
The wild
I'm that
prediction was
good.
me saying that Tenacity is going to replace Someday before Saturday.
Won't happen.
I
You
know it won't,
that.
but tell me that tell me that
No,
wouldn't be
it
one of
wouldn't
the
be cool.
wouldn't it be
wouldn't
one of
cool.
wouldn't it be one of the most hyped storylines if Tenacity comes in, 100 Thieves qualifies out
No.
of groups by beating DFM,
Oh yes,
and then
if they
T1
did.
win. But that's what I'm
But
saying.
no, I don't need to watch this poor man go against Kata in one of his first games of the year.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing, but he's been facing him in solo queue, so and holding him
Solo
out.
queue in a game is way different.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but like I look at it this way: if they lose the game, but he still gets like a 1v1 on him, that's all I need. That's enough. We're good.
That's enough hopium for you.
Yeah, because I look at it this way: what, like the realistic answer, like being completely dead honest and serious with yourself, the 100 Thieves result is likely going to be they beat DFM, they lose to SK, or they lose to T1, they lose to EDG.
Yeah.
Why not throw in Tenacity to do the exact same thing and possibly let him pop off?
Because you're killing his value if he sucks.
I don't think so. If your intention is to start him next year, then his value is irrelevant.
True. Is it though? Is that their intention?
There's no way you look at this Worlds and say it's not.
Maybe.
The exact
I
thing
don't
that
know
we are
if I believe
talking
him.
about is stop holding on to older players.
Yeah, but I don't trust them to stop doing it.
I fully do.
Oh.
I fully, like, people were going to call me crazy and people were going to be like, oh, Someday, you know, they owe-respect the Someday because he did this for them for the longest period of time. He did. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Well,
But, sayonara.
You just wait when TSM buys Danny and Chovy.
God, again, you're going to buy Danny and Chovy, finish third, and not make a difference. Because don't forget, if PCS gets out, like they might, we're in trouble. Although I don't know how that's going to work because everybody besides PSG is completely terrible in the PCS.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what you do.
I don't know what happens there.
Yeah, that's a tough question, but
I don't know what you do. Do they get negative points for not winning play-ins?
possibly. I would like to think so. I would hope
Yeah.
that actually like has a negative impact on your region.
Yeah, because like I don't think we need a third PCS team going, but I guess we also don't need a third LCS team going. So
That's the thing. Like,
yeah,
don't
pick
know.
which regions.
Get rid of them
Pick
both.
which worthless team you want to see at Worlds, baby.
Get rid of them both. Give 5 seeds to LCK and LPL. Boom.
No. Get rid of them both, but get rid of the third place. Don't give PCS a third. Don't give LCS a third. Give Japan a second.
That might actually not be bad. Give Japan a second. So Vietnam will be back. Vietnam will have 2 teams there.
Oh, don't even. Yeah, just give Vietnam a second. Give
Or
Vietnam a third.
well, no, because well, the ideal format is you keep
you
the
give
format
Japan-
so I like the play-ins format as is, and when you add Vietnam's 2 teams into it, it kind of throws a curveball into everything. I would say, because you're technically losing 2 teams there, what if you cut the 3rd seed from the LCS, and then
Give it to Japan.
yeah, give Japan. So you cut the LCS, give it to Japan, and then the 2 teams come in for Vietnam, and problem solved.
Yep.
Or, in my opinion, and I think this would be the better solution, Vietnam comes in, you cut the LCS 3rd seed, but then you also cut the LCK 2nd seed, or not 2nd seed, 4th seed. So only the team that won Worlds in the prior year gets to bring a fourth team to the tournament.
That's a plan.
So you have 4, 3, and then 4, 3, 3, and then everybody else has 2.
That's an idea.
Because then the biggest problem with the format as is that if you keep having 4 and 4, there's a chance that it continues to be 4 China, 4 Korea every year. By adding in just that one slot that cannot possibly be from those regions,
Yep.
voila. And I know what people are going to say, oh, that
Okay.
ruins competitive integrity because you're eliminating one of the teams that should be top 8 and giving it to a team that's not. I don't care. It's entertainment value.
Yeah.
And I think that adds more entertainment than the other solutions.
Yeah. Smooch. That's all I have.
That's all I got too. I don't think I'm going to go to the gym tonight. I think I'm just going to play solo queue. Drown my self-loathing in League. But thank you all for tuning in this week.
To beat the best, you gotta beat the best. That's what we're ending on.
To beat the best, you have to beat the best.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next week when we will discuss knockout stage, because at this point next week, groups will be formally done.
Oh.
And yeah, looking forward to it. Oh, one last thing.
Yeah, I want to see what this
Fast speed game. Additionally, if the same region kept on making it to Worlds, it really discourages the other regions from getting better IMO. Yes and no. I think it just depends on like if it's truly like competition, other regions doing better should inspire the lesser regions to eventually fight back. I mean, the Patriots won for how many years and teams never gave up? So,
yeah, I see what he's saying though.
yeah, I get the point.
But it's also like eventually one of your teams is going to have to make a wave to start earning your spots back. And when you start having less spots, your teams also have to try harder in the regional league, which thusly makes the regional league matter more, which was one of our points we had earlier.
Yeah.
How do you make your regional league matter more? You only have 2 LCS spots that go to Worlds.
Yep. Also,
and
get rid of that 7th and 8th team in playoffs, please. Thank you.
Yeah, get rid of that. You could make, because you could do it here. This would make finals sick. Ready? You do a gauntlet, and you have a gauntlet for after finals. So the finals run is what it is. Winner goes to Worlds and finals. Then all like the top 3 teams after that. So like the 3 teams after that do a gauntlet together
Yep.
with spring points counting or whatever.
Yeah.
So boom, you have this crazy 3-team, 4-team, whatever you want to make it gauntlet right after getting your going to finals. And one of those teams, they're crushed. One of those gauntlet teams is soul crushed because they were that close to going to Worlds, but they couldn't because too bad you didn't win your region.
And I think in order to do that, you have to cut out the 7th and 8th team, and which would give it, it would give it that ability to limit the time frame. Because the problem you would have now is with 8 teams in playoffs and double elimination, that's too much time.
Yeah,
you can realistically cram the gauntlet into one weekend, and just be like, look, if you truly want to run the gauntlet, you got to play best of 5 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just go. By eliminating some of those other games, you can condense the LCS playoffs down to 3 weekends, or 3 or 4 weekends at most. And then you give 2 weeks, and then the gauntlet goes. And that's it.
Yeah. I'm going to post a link. Somebody asked if we have a Discord. We do have a Discord to post for the pod, but I don't know which room would be the one to put questions in for the podcast. Which one would that be?
Wild Night created
content ideas. I assume content ideas.
How about podcast topics?
Ideas, yeah. Podcast topics. So yeah, he's making a text channel that'll be podcast topics. So yeah, there you go. And there's the Discord link. But yeah, that's not a terrible idea. Maybe, you know what? Maybe this butt kicking and C9 going 0-6, I beg to God they go 0-6. You know how funny it would be to say Cloud 069.
God damn
Nice.
it, Paul. God damn it.
Cloud 069. That's not funny.
I mean, it is. I'll give you that. But at the same time, I hate you.
What? Cloud 069 is hilarious.
It is. It is.
That's hilarious. Talk about beating the best.
I mean, the ultimate BM is when you get, say you get rid of Sunday, be like 99 Thieves and Someday ain't one.
Come on. Why does Alex have to say TSM will always stay 0-6?
I mean, they were the OG. They were the first, like,
Stop.
Clutch
Stop.
technically did it in 2019, but
They'd be a good company.
Clutch doesn't
Come
exist,
on.
therefore TSM bears the mantle.
Why does everybody come here and just flame TSM?
Because, Paul, you have to be picked on. You're at the top
You
of
know
the totem
what?
pole.
I hope that when we get our old heads in there and we're beating you all with dudes who've been playing this game for 18 billion years and they're basically fossils, you all feel depressed as our
Abadage is
old
going
men
to shit stomp Bjergsen into
are
the
running
ground.
everyone down.
Reckless is going to come to North America and get shit on by a 4'10" Australian as ADC. He's going to cry his way all the way back to Europe.
Wish. He'll cry regardless.
That is true. He doesn't need FBI to stop him to do that.
Yeah.
I completely get that.
He will. But they'll win. And you know why they'll win? Because Spica's MVP.
God,
Rating
okay.
MVP.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.
Love you, Spica.
Adios, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to drop a like and comment on the podcast. Be sure to follow the channel as well. Join our Discord, which is in the chat, and I'll make sure I have it posted in the description of the video as well. Adios. See you next week. Hopefully we have an NA team out. Adios.
Yep. Love you, Spica.
And